Hi everybody, this is Toffee bringing you Endgame Part 2, the finale of my Fire Emblem 4 ranked LTC. Endgame has Seliph take on the armies of Granval in their home turf. Most of our units have capped their level already thanks to our earlier diligence. Only Shannon, Larse, Amit, Laylea, and Charlot have not. In terms of special preparations, we buy Berserk on set and the Berserk Edge on fee. The Silease siblings are in the mood to recruit some helpers amongst our foes. I ran Fee through some arena fights so she can also buy the return ring for later. I should have done it in the previous part, but it had slipped my mind when recording it. The final chapter of the game is where I finally stop hoarding gold on Garmud and Nana and just do some straightforward inventory management. That gives Amit some gold to buy the follow-up ring. Amit has not really done much in the run so far, so we will have him do a certain job that almost any unit could do for the sake of grinding out his last 3 level ups. First castle, Edda, is blanketed by status staves at 21 magic, which will necessitate even Seliph with his cap resistance to buy a barrier ring to defuse. Fortunately, the castle does not have an airtight wall, so we can just boost Seliph forward, and as long as he can keep his way clear, he can go for the C's on turn 2. Nana immediately returns Leaf back home so he can be closer to the front for the second castle. Charlot hits level 20 with that warp, which will allow him to promote next turn. The Dark Mages near the starting area have Siege Tomes and Status Staves, so we have some incentive to dispatch or defuse them so they don't give us a headache later. Ahmed and Linda's sibling conversation only shows up if neither of them are married, but it's not like that was a real threat in a Gen 2 LTC. We send a number of our units up to the rampart to the northwest of our starting area to prepare for the second castle. We don't end up needing all of them to contribute. Nana just needs to survive on this turn. A good number of the enemies in the Great Wall of Edda are stationary, and this actually helps block off some of the spots that the enemies might have attacked Seliph from. The mobile bosses in the late game actually have skills, but I'm not really going to acknowledge them because at this point we're just stomping and rushing through everything. Seliph will just ride up to Edda and seize on turn 2. Now that Nana's way is cleared, she will ride for Edda to send Seliph home next turn. Charlot is the final promotion of the run. Charlot will now run through the arena, though thanks to the extra warp we got him last map, he will only clear the arena until fight 6. I'll put a timestamp for the end of his arena run in the description. Leaf and Zed will get in a few fights as well. Near our castle, we will have Laylea, Ahmed, and Ares form a wall at the gate. The next castle is Dozel, the House of the Axe. Ares on a mountain with a sword equipped will be visibly unhittable by the Great Knights. The spot in front of Laylea gets blocked by the first enemy that attacks, forcing the rest of Dozel's Great Knights to funnel into Ahmed, who will soak up the EXP. Ahmed's avoid is helped by charm from Laylea and Diarmid and the sibling support from Linda, though his survival is obviously still questionable. With the follow-up ring and Thoron, he cleanly one-rounds the Great Knights back. Ahmed level caps on this enemy phase. And Self home. Dozel Castle is much easier to reach to the point where we actually are going to seize it on this turn. We sent a lot of units there because we need to clear out a path for our lead units on player phase for the one turn. Boss of the squad wields Hellswath and hence is rather bulky, so we send Power Ring Ares in with the Mistletoe and he can one-round him with a crit and a hit. Leaf will put Seliph in the dance formation and our two flyers, Fee and Altena, will complete the diamond. Fee flies up north while Altena will go west with Leaf. Seliph will seize Dozel on turn 3. Fee and Altena can switch places, but Fee's job is a bit rough for Altena to do. Leaf pulls Laylea forward as you'd expect. On this turn, we have a free turn to warp Larsay over to Edda in preparation for later. We first reduce her down to 1 HP though. Larsay also buys the Skill Ring and Prayer Sword. She will then stand guard over Edda for a turn. Now that we've seized Dozel, the gate to Friege, some distance away, will open up. Friege deploys an army of barons, but we're gonna cheese this castle as you'll see. Larsay heals up 12 HP to go to 13. It would have been better if we had planned things so Larsay only had 11 HP. Leaf, Altena, and Seliph get into the dance formation on this turn, and then Leaf will rescue Altena a few squares forward. The point of this is that by having a flyer fly over the mountains, they can bait the Baron squad to move south, opening a path between them and the cliff for Seliph on the next turn. This arena run to buy the shield ring on Fee was just me being abundantly cautious with respect to enemy AI. I'm not sure if it was actually needed. The last use of a healing staff heals double the expected amount of HP. Though I didn't really find a particular use for it in this run that I can recall. Charlot warps Shannon to Dozel, and he walks towards the cliffs beneath Valhalla in preparation for next turn. The Beigenritter show up at the bottom left, but they don't matter. With the help of Leaf and Laylea, Seliph can seize Friege on turn 5. Leaf will then send himself home. On this turn, Charlot sends our Berserk Staff user Zed over to Dozel. Shannon moves to that specific spot, with Fee close by. I had Ares on standby in case he could be of help, but he was not needed. I also moved up my other mounts for the same reason. Valhalla deploys Ishtar's army and the Deadlords, but we don't really need to fight all that many of them. Far to the northeast is Velthomer, which deploys some Dark Mages and Julia. Normally, you'd have to go capture Velthomer and then talk to Julia to re-recruit her, and then have her visit Velthomer to get her holy weapon that can pierce Loptis's damage halving effect. But all that is too slow for LTC, so we won't bother. And fortunately, killing Julius will be enough to automatically re-recruit Julia. Shannon will lure over and dispatch the 3 Falcon Knights in Ishtar's army. They have crazy stats: Nihil, Follow-Up, Adept, and Critical, and Earth Swords. We take advantage of the fact that they have Triangle Attack AI and hence would prefer to attack at 1 range. We want to use Shannon for this job over Zed, not just for his EXP, but because in a ranked run, we prefer that the unit who does this job not have 1 to 2 range to kill all the Deadlords in range on enemy phase. We just want to be in range of the Deadlords to get them to start moving. The Deadlord Sage procced Onslaught and Adept a lot, so Shannon got attacked 5 times, which is funny. Note the movement order of the Deadlords, it'll become relevant on this upcoming enemy phase. Self sells his powering as he doesn't really need to care about his offensive output anymore. In fact, you could have Self sell everything in his inventory in principle. I only did things this way because it helped me find a suitable enemy phase seed more easily. Charlot sends Leaf right back to Friege. Leaf then backtracked to rescue Laylea forward. Back at Edda, Larsay was waiting for Self to sell the powering, and she will buy it and then move down. Nana waits 3 squares away from her to give her a charm boost. Shannon retreats away, his job done and his level capped. Sen will berserk the Dark Bishop Gallus, who wields Hell and will make for a potent ally. Julius's Loptus Stone makes it very difficult to carve open, and Gallus's Hell will bring him to 1 HP so anyone can cherry tap him. This will inspire his sister to recruit Bishop Equus of the Bolganon with her Berserk Edge. Another complication with Julius is that in order to get perfect ranks, we need him to be killed by a unit without Canto. Obviously, our own foot units cannot get to the front fast enough, so we need to recruit another of Julius's personal retinue for this. The criteria for this job is to be a Deadlord who moves after Gallus with access to 2 range, and that means it has to be one of Equus the Bishop, Canis the Shaman, and Draco the Sniper. It has to be a unit with 2 range because units with 1 range really hate moving onto the entrance of enemy castles, since due to how the game is programmed, they would end up forcibly retreating into the castle. Furthermore, we want our flyer to have a spare tile of movement after berserking her target to use the return ring to evacuate. This makes Equus the ideal cherry tapper. Equus has decent resistance, so the berserk chance isn't too great, and he can crit feed, but we do what we need to do for the turn count and the ranks. After a rig, we went into the epic enemy phase. Arian showed up near Edda with a few EXP bags beside him, and they moved first. It's time for Larsay to have her moment. Being a woman, Larsay can use the prayer sword freely, and we set things up so that she gets a good miracle going. We're interrupted by the assassination of Julius. Anyway, being a woman, Larsay can use the prayer sword freely, and we set things up for the miracle. With the powering, she needs to land 3 hits to kill a generic wyvern, and she has both Astra and Adept to fish for the extra hit, with Adept making her better at this than her brother using the prayer sword glitch. The miracle setup was to ensure that she didn't get murdered by Arion. With that, Larsay will level cap off of the arena. Killing Julius removes Ishtar's subordinates, so Seliph didn't even need to kill them. And all the Deadlords vanish as well to clear Seliph's path. Unfortunately, Velthomer does not turn blue. We have a couple of odds and ends to deal with. Laylea's dance gets her to level 29. She falls 1 level short of level capping, the only level we miss in all of Generation 2. Down south, Nana returns Larsay home so she can do her arena run. Pala Emblem's run was a big help as a reference throughout this LTC, and since I killed multiple cute contributions from that run, I decided I'd do something to tip my hat to the person who came before me. I give Ahmed a couple of rings, and Charlot will level cap by sending Ahmed to Edda. Altena can normally talk to Arion to turn him and his lackeys green, but the talk is deactivated after Julius's death. I've gotten rather sick of Arion's stupid pride. Since Arion won't join us, I figured we might as well just beat him. Ahmed will grab the final kill of this run. I also have Lester make a certain luxury purchase. Seliph will then seize to complete Endgame in 7 turns. That will conclude this Fire Emblem 4 ranked LTC in 152 turns. We get this cutscene since we achieved a perfect rank. Well, those are the turn counts and the unit records. See ya.